Hey y'all, welcome back to the Black Boardroom. I guess this is the Black Boardroom at night? After dark?
Hey, after dark. I like
Yeah.
it.
But no, this is our last episode together for this season, y'all. Can you believe it?
Can we get a hand clap? Can we get a hand clap?
Yay! We made it.
We made it.
Yes.
Yes, we did.
And we will be back.
Yes.
No question.
But yeah, so as you all can see, our set is a little comfy cozy today. We are comfy and cozy. We're in our night clothes, our PJs, because we want to make this conversation comfortable. Whereas many times this can be kind of a touchy subject depending on where it goes. But we just want to talk about sisterhood. Just have some girl talk today. And, just feel relaxed while we're doing it. So
does that mean I need to sit my black butt down on this one?
you know what? No, we will allow you the privilege of.
I'm honored.
Yes, the honor and the privilege of listening in. Whereas most times, probably all the time, men don't get that,
That is a terrible stereotype.
No, I'm just saying we don't allow y'all in because it's us. It's girl talk. So we don't give y'all that, honor of being a part of our conversation.
Understood.
Yeah.
I still
so
know how I feel, but touche. On that note, before we forget, how y'all doing?
Good.
Let's start with you, Brett.
Yeah. So, I guess that's a good place to start as we dive into the sisterhood conversation, just checking in. But I'm okay. Life is life but still pushing, still going, still getting up every day, still, facing all the things and showing up and I feel really good to be able to be in this space with y'all and have this conversation. They say check on your strong friends, and I think that each of us we are,
The strong friend.
the strong friend, right? So and sometimes like we're good at putting that mask on and just showing up with the cape on. That you never know, like you could be 2 Skittles away from losing your mind, So
Absolutely.
yeah, but I'm good. How you doing, Nikita?
I'm good. Like you said, life is life, but I say I see the light at the end of the tunnel. It's been a long tunnel, but
Tunnels are long.
tunnels are long. Little turbulence in there every now and again, but see the light at the end of the tunnel. So
That's good.
I'm good.
Good. I heard the sigh, like
because you know what,
making it through.
I stopped complaining. So if I say I'm good, I'm good. You know what I mean? I woke up today, another chance to get it right. So
Amen.
I'm good.
That's right. That's right.
What about you, Ebony?
The same. I have to agree and say what you guys said. Piggybacking on the life has been lifing. Just things show up and it's always the unforeseen. But God is amazing, and He granted us another opportunity, like you said, to get it right. So no complaints my way either. I'm happy. I'm blessed and I'm thankful. And I'm happy, like Britt said, to be here. It's been a while. I miss y'all. I feel like I've been away a little longer. But I am happy to be here today and, ready to share these views and opinions and thoughts with everybody. So doing good.
Yeah.
How about you, AC?
I was getting ready to
How about you, AC? We thought we was going to, let it go.
So I'm good. It's a long time coming. I want to say first and foremost, I'm proud of the three of you for relaunching the Black Boardroom Collective and including someone like myself and seeing the first season, through. So I appreciate y'all for that. And I'm good. So I'm going to fall back. Maybe, maybe not.
Right. Maybe not. We shall see.
And I appreciate. Oh, Nikita, stay off of 76 East and West because there's 3 tunnels on that joint.
Duly noted.
This fool. Anyway, so let me ask y'all this: how many times do you just give the autopilot answer of "I'm okay, I'm good," or "fine" when somebody's asking you how you doing? Like, how often do you really just take a moment and share how you're really doing?
I don't think as women we do that often, you know, because we're so used to being last, you know, even just like through motherhood and, you know, if you're a wife, like it's just, we make sure everything and everyone's okay before we are. So not even necessarily that we don't say it. I don't always think that people really want to hear it. And maybe that's assumption and that's where we go wrong. But I think, you know, sometimes people just ask it because it's just what you do, you know?
Yeah.
So unless it's a friend, you know, if it's a real friend, I may let them know, like, girl, like we just said amongst each other, it's been crazy, but we don't, I think we always kind of are just in that stance of, I'm good, you know? I don't know how real it is. Sometimes I think it's just what it is. I don't know. It's not my natural instinct to go into all my issues.
And just dump on somebody. Especially a stranger, like you said. Just like, oh
yeah,
my God.
but like if only
so
you know.
yeah.
So.
Yeah, I definitely think so many times we operate in autopilot, not just the I'm good, but just daily basis. We just
go.
Yeah, it's just get up and it's just we do what we have to do and set all the rest of the other stuff down and just go. So yeah, I think, however, I am learning to be more intentional with not just saying I'm good. Because if I'm just saying I'm good, I'm not really dealing with what's causing me not to be good. And so lately, the past couple months, like I'm trying to be intentional about that. Not dumping on everybody, but
right.
you know, you have your circle of friends that even when you say I'm good, they know you're not good. They can hear it. They can hear in the I'm good, you're not good, and they like, what's wrong?
Right.
You know. So
yeah. And I think even you and I had a moment last week where you're like, you know, I meant to call you just to check in, but you know, but and I understand, you know, life gets in the way, and you know, we weren't able to talk at that moment, but we did have a little, you know, check in. But you know, even so, just still letting someone know, you know, hey, I thought about you. You were on my mind, you know, and I think that means something more than just I randomly thought of someone. Like you were. That person was put on your mind for a reason. Reach out, even if it's just a text.
Absolutely.
You know, you don't have to have a conversation, you know, like an actual phone call if, you know, time doesn't permit or whatever. But just letting a person know that, you know, they were on your mind, you know, that's important too. Because like you said, we're just constantly on the go. And we're usually the last ones thought of. That when someone takes a moment and just says, you know, hey, I was just thinking about you. Just want to make sure you're good. Or, you know, I miss you, or we need to hang out or plan something. Like those little moments, you know, just allow us to feel seen and make us, you know that we're not forgotten. So how do you all show up in your own circles of friends, of, you know, when it comes to sisterhood? Like, what is your role?
The calling, the check-in, definitely not the planner, but the, hey, we haven't seen each other in a while. Let's do this. What do you want to do? Because I am not planning it. But, you know, like I said in our check-in, it's really just having those conversations. Because you can sense when something is going on. Like when your circle, you know when something is going on. And so just really checking in and just showing up. Sometimes not being the strong friend, just that listening ear. Sometimes, like we said, life be life. And so sometimes you don't even have the capacity. So that text, because sometimes I don't have the capacity to take on anybody else's, even in my circle, and expressing that, like, you know what, today has been hard. I don't really want to talk about what's going on with me right now, but you know, I just wanted to check and make sure you're good. Like, just showing up.
Yeah.
That's who I am. I'm the one that shows up. So for years and years, all my friends always tell me, you never answer your phone. You don't start. I wasn't even gonna look at Brittany because listen, you don't answer, you don't. And then it got to a point where I used to say, okay, well, then don't expect it. You know what I mean? If you know that I don't, then that's who I am. But then I realized that's not okay. So I definitely tried to make some adjustments, but It's kind of an overall agreement that I will show up though. Like you said, Nikita, when something's not right in your circle, when you need to, it doesn't matter what's going on in your own life, it's time to check in. It's time to, even if it's a one-on-one, if it's like a particular person, what's up, how you doing? Same thing, you've been on my mind, or what's up with that situation we talked about. I will do that, but like I'm not the planner either. You pretty much tell me when and where, and I'll just be there. I will do the showing up, but I have been trying to get better. Because I realized maybe it could be because I'm getting older, and not even just that, just losing people. Like people are just, passing away left and right, and it's like I can't even necessarily connect it to age. It's just like
life,
the unexpected, and just life. So I do try to check in because I realize that could be my last check in. So I will hit. Like we have a sister group. And I'll hit my friend, or we'll just say something, even if it's just like a scripture, if it may be a podcast that I watch. Check this out, y'all. Like it gets real deep around here, just so they, I'm alive, making sure y'all alive. And I may not hit back for another week or so, but I'm trying to get better at that. And checking myself because I do realize the part that I play, and I realize I am very important to my friends. So I don't want to take that for granted. So I've been trying to show up more by way of reaching out and initiating conversations.
I will say that I have not been such a good friend because I'll think about, checking in, reaching out, will have someone on my mind, and just in that moment, it's just not a good time. Then I forget for a couple of days. Then I'm reminded again, but then it's like, oh, well, I'm in the middle of this, but I'll do this when I get home. I'll check in, or you know what I mean? And then it keeps falling off and falling off. And I've even been that one who has checked out and not been active and am going through something and won't share it, So it's like, of course, nobody's checking on you because they don't know. So how are you going to hold that against them, thinking that don't nobody care because you ain't even letting nobody, you know what I mean? So it's like, yeah, I've dealt with that too. So again, like you said, just checking yourself, and just being honest, like, have I really been open and letting people know? And again, it's not to just dump all my mess on somebody, but if people really care about you, then they're going to be there. They're going to show up for you. And they want to show up for you just in the same way I would show up for them. So I've always felt like, I don't want to be a burden on someone else. I don't want to put my, stuff on someone and, I'm all right, I'll be all right. But no, like you are just as important, as you consider everyone else to be. So, I think just taking the time to find that we do matter. And once we understand that, I think that can change. It can open up so much for us in the realm of communicating with our friends and then also being received by our friends. Because true friends are not going to think you're a burden.
No, they won't. But sometimes it's also a process, just the opening up. So even though you can have true friends, sometimes you still don't want to share. I mean, we're all so different. And sometimes it's just like, you can also know, and it's not being a burden, but your friend is also going through something too, because they've shared. And it's like, not a burden, but let them deal with what they're dealing with, and let me still show up for them. And I'm going to hold this, and sometimes you just still got to process what you're going through. And I find sometimes even in your sister circle, even though you need your friends to listen, because they care, sometimes they want to over-insert how they feel you should move through this situation, or what they see. And sometimes, even though that's your friend, your girl, you're like, you know what? I just need you to listen today. You can't tell me how to move in this situation. You can't, at the end of the day, I just need to know if I go A, you going to be there. If I go B, you going to be there. And that's all I need from you, right now. But sometimes you still have those friends that show up that way, regardless. And so sometimes you don't want to share, you know, and it doesn't make you not a good friend for not sharing. It doesn't make them not a good friend because they, you know, they care and they're like, well, I really think you should, you know, and that is really what they think. But sometimes you just don't need it in that moment. So it doesn't make you not a good friend for sharing sometimes. But I think as friends, we just all show up in our circles different ways. We all bring something different to that circle of friendship that we're in, that we call our circle. So.
Yeah, yeah. And in that moment when you don't need something to be fixed, like you just want to vent and just want to be heard, that it's important to just say that.
Right.
Yeah.
I was going to say, I think that's where we need to become more intentional. You know, if these are our friends and we've been friends for a long time and, you know, your friends understand you, you get them. Listen, I need to talk, but I don't want to hear nothing. Yeah. And that's your girl. She should be good with that. You know, I feel the same way. I mean, like when it's for me, I am a better listener. I have the best advice, but a lot of times because I've been told, sometimes people really just want your ear. So there's a lot of times where I'm biting my tongue off because I do have an opinion. I'm like, like I feel like I might have the solution, but I have to agree. Sometimes we don't want to hear it. Like I'm not even sometimes looking for a solution. I just got to get it off because I don't have no one else to say, or maybe the person, if it is a person that I'm going through it with, I can't talk to them. So this is where my girl comes in. But again, be intentional. Like, look, I don't want to hear it. I don't want no response.
But sometimes you still, you know, in every circle, you still got that girl that's in that circle. You didn't preface the conversation with just listen.
Yeah. And then
but you still got that friend that says, but Eb.
Yeah, I know you don't want me to talk, but.
And it don't make them less of a friend. It don't mean they didn't listen to you. They just showing up how they show up.
Right.
So.
And we knew that when we went to them.
Exactly.
And maybe subconsciously, that's why you went to them.
Yeah.
Have y'all ever had someone you considered a friend or they considered you a friend and you experienced like hateration from them? And it don't even have to be anything overt. Just kind of like, you know, the dry hate or like trying to make you look a certain way in front of other people or in front of other friends or in front of a dude. And it's just like, girl, what's wrong with you?
I don't think I've ever, I'm not going to say never experienced it. I don't think I ever opened my eyes to it. I've had people to tell me that that's how they saw, you know, people who was in my circle. And I'm like, no, they're just, you know, and sort of making excuses and rationalizing that behavior because that's not anything that you really want to say that your friend is hating or, you know, whatever. And I hate that word, but, you know, I even now, you know, like lost some friendships, ended some friendships, and can go back and sort of look at some of that. But
so, like the hindsight has been 2020, where you've seen it after.
Yeah.
Okay.
And not even that some of it was intentional. You know what I mean? Like on their part, but throughout that relationship, people have been saying, you know, those things to me. I'm like. Not her. No, like, we 10 toes down for each other. Like, she don't, you know, but then you go back and you kind of like.
Well, because that's what we want to believe.
Yeah.
You know, but wolves are what they are, you know, and it's funny, we talked about that in church today, and we just always come up with these excuses, but sometimes you just got to let it be what it is. But it's hard to, unless it's something really, really direct, it's hard for us to believe that someone in our group means us harm. Or someone's viewing us a certain way, you know, because it's like, you just don't want to believe that you chose a friend like that.
Yes, I was just going to say that because it says more about you. Like, how did I let somebody in who could possibly do that to me? What does that say about me? Like, am I too trusting of everyone? Am I naive? Like, how did that get past me?
Absolutely.
Or just like, I know I would never do that.
That's what it is for me.
So how is that energy coming to me if I know I don't even operate that way? Why is that even in my realm? You know?
Yep. That's definitely what it is. In most cases, I've found that's what it is. I'm just like, I trust easily. I know I do. But I love hard, you know? And it's like, I just know I would not do that. So I'm like, nah, it's no way. So that... You're right on point with that.
Or not even hate. I think also too, like in some friendships where you show up for people and then you realize they don't show up for you in the same way. you know, you kind of be there at every, and I don't mean at every like event, but at every, you know, if it's mental health, you're there, you're that phone call. If it's, you know, something's happening in my relationship, I need somewhere to stay. If it's, you know, like all of these different things, and you are that person that shows up, and then it's like when the tables flip and you need that show up, it's like, oh my gosh, you're going through this, and it's different. So I think that's not even so much hate, but it's just like realizing sometimes too that all friends, or who we say are friends, don't show up in the same way. That some friendships are based on what you can provide for them, and it's not reciprocal.
Yeah. And I can say, even talking about a physical showing up, like everything I've ever had, every event, y'all both have shown up to. And, you know, and I just want y'all to know that that is definitely something that I would reciprocate to y'all, you know, when the time does come. And it have, yes. But have y'all ever dealt with a friend who you've shown up physically to everything they've had going on, and then when it was your turn to be celebrated, or your turn to have your whatever, it was automatic, oh, I know they gonna be there.
And they had all the excuse.
And they, or, you know, or you hadn't even heard from them. It's like, I thought you would have been the first one. Yeah.
Yes, that's happened. And I think, you know, again, as you get older and you experience more, you realize like you just learn to listen and pay attention. You know, God shows us these things all the time and we just have blinders on. But when you really take those blinders off and look at things for what they are, it's just like, okay, well, that's how I'm going to deal with her. You know, it doesn't mean that I'm going to say we're not friends, you know, but I'm going to treat you the same, you know, not to be petty, but it's just like, I can't, you know, you get older, your tolerance gets lower. You have priorities, and I'm not going to waste time trying to figure anyone out anymore. I'm trying to still figure me out. So that's where my attention's going to go. You know, my family, my real friends. Like, I'm not going to sit here, and not to say that, it's not to say that they're not your friend, but it's just like you have different levels of friends. You know, even if they used to be the one that was always there, that's what seasons is about. So if you start to look at it that way, it's like not always against you. It could be that they just have something going on now. So I do still kind of, and I'm told often that I give people, you know, I'm naive and things like that. I still get that. But I just think, I want to still be that person that's not totally in the negative all the time about people. But I also am becoming that person who's like, look, I'm going to let her be who she is. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is who you are. Like, that's fine. I can't let that interfere with my peace. That's what I'm in search of. And that's what I need these days. So, you know, don't show up, you know, and I'll still invite you. But if you don't come, I kind of learn to expect it.
But after a certain while, you got to just stop inviting.
Yeah.
I know. It's true. But like, I'm so big on being consistent. So you can never say that I didn't. You know what I'm saying? You can never say you didn't get the invitation.
Well, they can still say it. That could be the reason why they're saying they didn't come. So I think at a certain time, just to protect your peace too, about that, they didn't show up for me. Because, you know, you still end up having feelings about that.
That's true.
You know, sometimes you got to know when to cut it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then if you're the friend that's wondering why you're no longer getting the invitation. I mean, because let's be real, I'm talking to y'all out there, like, because you've never shown up, now that your friend has caught on that you're not going to show up, you ain't invited no more. So
Exactly.
If you've been wondering why, it's why.
That's probably it. Check yourself. Check yourself.
So, quick question. Do y'all subscribe to the no new friends ideology?
No. I used to.
Real?
Oh, yeah, that used to be my thing. I was not playing around with that. Like, this is my circle. Small-minded. You know, I had my same friends from middle school, which are the ones that I usually refer to when you hear me say, like, my circle. But I realized you have to keep yourself open because you don't know who God's trying to put in your life and what you're to give them or they're to bring you. Or, you know, so, no, I am totally open to new friendships.
Yes.
But I was just getting ready to ask you, was that before or after Drake?
Did you say after Drake?
Yeah, I mean, that's his song, No New Friends.
Yes, it is.
So, you know,
it has nothing to do. I don't even know. I do not know. Cannot stand AC.
Lord.
I told you I'm going to pop it and pop out, you know.
I definitely think new friends, but it does take me a while to consider you a friend, right?
Absolutely.
So somebody can come around and, it'll even be introduced by a friend that's, solid, but, it takes a while before I'm saying like, you're my friend. I have one friend, great girlfriend. We met in 2016, and she said from the first day she saw me, when she met me in 2016, she was like, she's going to be my friend. Nikita's going to be my friend. And I was like, you literally said that. She was like, yes, a whole grown adult. She was like, but there was something about you. She was like, in our first conversation. And it took until probably, I'm going to say 2019, 2020, where I said, we are friends, really, really good friends. And we would do lunch and we would, go out and stuff like that. But and now, gosh, we must talk like 5 times a week.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah. But it definitely takes.
Oh, yeah. Yeah,
takes
you
a
can't
while.
use the term too loosely,
All right, so question. So each of us have daughters. What do you advise them about friendships or being a friend?
I am big on kind of to go back to what Nikita said. I tell my daughter from the door, everybody is not your friend. I tell her the friends you have now more than likely will not be your friends in high school. She's in middle school. I'm like, they probably won't even make it, to 8th grade. They're going to fall off. But a real friend will remain, and you'll know, you'll feel it. My daughter doesn't realize that she's a people pleaser. So am I. To a point, so am I. And that was really worse when I was younger. But I'm telling her, don't fall for the okie doke. You can't do everything. You can't be everything for everyone. Continue to be you. People just flock to her automatically, which is good and bad, because she always feels like she has to kind of be available, But I just tell her, just give it some time. Like you said, you can't really determine a friend within one school year. I'm sorry, you can't. And you see these shows and documentaries about what people do in friend groups to people, girls, and
oh my goodness,
that just kills
the mean
me.
girl stuff starts in elementary school.
Yes, it does.
It's
yes,
real.
It does.
Oh yeah.
So I'm big on who's all going.
Yeah.
I'm still that mom that I need to have all the parents' numbers because you just don't know. But I'm just telling her, be aware of your surroundings. Understand who you're around. And if you start getting a funny feeling about somebody, or friends acting off, note it.
Yeah. Have you used that term with her, people pleaser? Like, is she aware?
Oh, yeah, she's aware.
Okay.
She's aware. Yep. We talk a lot. And I do that intentionally because I didn't have that. You know what I mean? I didn't have it. So I try to give her that, everything that I did not. I purposely. I'm just like, my mom didn't give me hugs all the time leaving. Let me make sure I hug her. Or, let me make sure I say this because not that I know if I missed it because I didn't have it, but I feel like it'd be important to kind of, put that into our relationship. But she knows exactly what it means. And I try to tell her, keep your, stay on the pivot. Stay on the pivot with these girls because girls are real.
They are. Yeah, my daughter, she is, again, like everybody want to come over to the house and, those things like that with friends. But she had one, I'm using friend loosely, air quotes, friend who always just was like, wanted to be like this trouble person. And my daughter's like, I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it. And then one day she called my daughter fat. My daughter's like, well, I guess you're not my friend anymore. She was like, and you're so skinny and, and went right back onto her. But, the little girl's mom called my daughter and was like, well, y'all were friends and you're going to let something this small get in the way.
Okay, so she got it from you.
You called
your
daughter.
Exactly.
Yeah, so my daughter called me right up. Mom, such and such, mom called me. And I called her and I said, first of all, why did you call my daughter instead of calling me?
Right.
Secondly, your daughter was inappropriate and calling my daughter names. And, and then for you to think my daughter is supposed to accept that and just be your daughter's friend, I said, you need to teach your daughter how to be a better friend or she's going to lose a lot more than my daughter. But so I was glad that my daughter in that moment could see like, this ain't my friend because she wouldn't have done that.
That's right.
But then she has other kids who like, if they're missing school, my daughter's like, why'd you miss school today? well,
Good.
let's do this math. Like, well, you're falling behind. Well, let's, and even if her and her friends are like laughing about something, like, why y'all laughing at that? Like, what happened? Let's talk about that. Well, maybe she's going through this. So ask her tomorrow, like, does she need help with this? Or, so we kind of talk through like what friendship looks like.
That's
and,
good.
and at 11, they think everything is kind of funny, but now they're starting to realize like, oh, something really is going on. Well, let's show up. So just teaching them early how to show up.
Absolutely.
So,
And with me, so I have two. I have one who's an adult and one who's in elementary school. So different phases of friendships and, navigating those conversations with them. So with my oldest, it's just that transition of coming out of being a teenager. Now I'm an adult and I'm figuring out life for myself and my own world and where I'm going, what I'm doing. And, she is one who's just very welcoming to everyone, as am I. So, she gets it honest. But even in adulthood, realizing that these girls still operating out here like they in high school and middle school. And I'm like, listen, it's going to be like that. That's not going to change. Like there are some people who just, their personalities are just so like, they can't do one without the other. Or if one, don't like this or don't feel like, then the other one's going to follow. And it's just like, you know what?
Yep.
Do you, and it's okay to walk alone. You can be the popular loner,
I was going to say, that's when you start weaning people out. Okay, thank you for
sure,
showing me who
absolutely.
you are.
That's right.
And don't be afraid to do that. And if it's just you left, then that's fine.
That's
it. And the right people will gravitate to you. And just like you said, you'll know.
Yep.
But and with my 9-year-old, so, again, having that same conversation, everyone is not your friend. And you may be a part of this little group, but don't think that this is it. Or you can't make friends with other people because you're part of this group. So, with her having, the heart that she does, she makes friends with everyone and, it's easy for her and she will invite others in. And then with her little clique, let's just be real, call it what it is. There are girls in the clique that are like, we don't know them.
Absolutely.
Excuse me?
I was waiting for that. Yeah.
Excuse me? Or they're your friend, they're not our friend. Or they can't be, with us. Yeah. So my daughter will run off and go play with them at recess. And it's like, why? Yeah. And so I'm trying to tell her, like, some of these girls,
those are the
they're
signs.
not. Yeah. So you might want to, but it's kind of hard for her right now. Like, she understands it logically, but I think, like, the emotional attachment to them is just, it's too great for her to just kind of give up because, but I've been knowing them, like we've been together since first grade and, like these are my friends and blah, blah, blah. And, but I can play with them sometimes and still play with, but, and so just navigating all that.
It's hard at that age.
Because at that age too, like you said, they're holding on to the time, because they're so young.
And kids are just cruel.
Yes, they
and like
are.
I said, the mean girl stuff starts in elementary school. Like, I know the whole concept of like all the bullying and stuff, like you think it's with the older kids. No, that stuff is like, it's in first grade.
Yes, it is.
It is happening. It's so prominent at those young ages. So, and it's like, how are you understanding to be this way in kindergarten?
So young.
In preschool.
Starts in preschool. Yes, it does.
Are your parents bullies too? Like, where are you getting this from?
Some of it is also older siblings, that older sibling, and then you're carrying it. That's how they're treated at home. And then it comes into school. And now it's like, oh yeah, I can bully somebody, a little bit smaller than me or,
or who looks different than me or who I don't think, has this. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Got to teach them at an early age.
You have to.
Number one, to stand up for themselves and just really have that self-confidence, because I tell her all the time, even like with her natural hair and being around a lot of, white kids, it's like,
she's going to get the questions.
She
She's
get the
get
questions,
let me touch, can I touch it? All that, I'm sure.
And for a while, I'm like, okay, so you want braids? She was like, no. Y'all saw her today. She came in here. She was supposed to get her hair braided yesterday. She said, no, I think I'm going to wear it out for a week. And I was like, you sure you want braids? She was like, no.
I love that she embraces that so early. Because this is that, the age where they want to impress their peers. And it's, trying to, everybody looks the same. Every child looks the same, down to like what they wear and the hairstyle. So that's really, that speaks volumes for what you're pouring into her.
Yeah. I had to have that conversation with my youngest too. There was a particular phase she was going through where she wanted her hair constantly blown out and worn straightened because, you know, she is hanging out with the white girls.
Exactly.
And, you know,
I gotta kind of look like them. But
right. But that doesn't make up her entire friend group. But, you know, like I want my hair to be long and flowy and, you know, so I want it blown out. I don't want to wear my curls. And she wasn't embracing her curls. But I'm like, no, you're going to wear your hair. And she was hating it. But, you know, and I started getting books for her. You know, we got Hair Love.
Yes.
I love
Hair
curls.
Love. We have that.
You know, with black girls just showing the beauty of black hair and, you know, embracing who you are. And it didn't click immediately because it was like, you know, okay. But, you know, after a while, she did get it. And she is embracing who she is. And I love that.
Yes.
Yes.
So it is definitely, it has to start now.
It does.
Or else you grow up with that self-hatred. You know, I told my daughter, I was like, I got my first perm at 12, you know, and she's 11. And I'm like, nope, we're moving forward.
We don't I don't do chemicals in my kids' hair. No, we don't do the...
We don't.
We'll
So she's never had
relaxers.
a perm. And that's what I tell her. So, of course, I'm natural now, you know, but it took years. Because
me too.
when I was 12, it was like,
that's what you do.
Yeah,
it was like a rite of passage. You get your first relaxer.
Exactly. And so then as I got older, it's like, why am I doing this? You know, so... but for her to actually embrace it, I love it. You know, so
yeah,
that's amazing.
It seems like we have daughters that I guess we're in spaces where there's a lot of whiteness. I'll just say it like that. So how do you teach your daughters to navigate being a black girl in a space that she's probably going to be the only one that looks like that, you know, and, you know, to embrace who she is and to also be okay with being the only one and still showing up as her authentic self?
I think it's children mimic what they see, you know, and so for me, when I grew up, you know, in the urban area, right? So I didn't have to deal with that. But at the same time, like I just said, it was perms and things like that. But getting older, and embracing my natural self and things like that, you know, my daughter sees that. And so then it's like constant conversation, you know, so her hair texture matches mine while it doesn't match the white kid, you know, that she's friends with. So it just helps for them to see and be able to mimic that. Her knowing, you know, like I work with a lot of white people and hearing the conversations and, you know, all of those different things, taking her to black museums, you know, over the summertime, that was our summer, going to different museums, embracing blackness. And I think you just got to pour that into them.
Yeah. And it's so funny because you talk about the conversations. It's like you also got to be careful what you say around your kids because they are sponges.
Yes,
because
they are.
Y'all know me, like I'm blackity black and I, you know.
You're going to get a call home from school.
Child, listen. But, you know, my daughter will say things at home like, oh, yeah, but, you know, she's white. So, you know, and I'm just like, oh, God.
Yeah, so casually.
You can't say that like when you're at school around them. But, you know, I know what you mean. And I know you ain't trying to be, you know, but yeah. But, you know, that is the reality of it, too. It's like there are differences. And you can't sit here and give a blanket covering for all kids because there's different environments that they're coming from, different lived experiences, biases that they're experiencing, microaggressions that they're already experiencing. So you want them to be aware and to be able to call these things out and to know what's happening. And so my daughter, is she saying those things now? Like, Ma, like something's wrong with my teacher. Like, I think she's like a little racist. I'm like, well, she's racist. It ain't a little. She's racist. But, you know, it's like, I just noticed that she's different with me or with, because she's the only black girl in the class. But, you know, me and the, you know, the black boys in the class and, you know, like she just talks to us a little harsher, you know, so like those things.
It's so good that you recognize that.
Yes.
My daughter, you tell her something and her response is always, why? Because I'm black?
Girl, I would lose it. But hey, 9 times out of 10, that's probably why.
Yes.
You know what I mean? So, I mean, and that's the thing. If we teach them, no, don't say it up. No, because then that's where, you know, that's where it starts, where we don't really express our true selves. Because, you know, we were taught that to be polite. Yes,
to go along, to get along, and to not disrupt, and to, but times have changed so much that it's like, no, you better.
Yeah.
Because if you
they don't sugarcoat at all.
Right.
No, exactly.
So, You know, I my daughter's the same. She it's funny because she's in a phase where she does not, her hair is driving her crazy. Now her hair is the same like mine, very thicker. I don't even know how it got this thick, but it takes me 2 hours to just put a good ponytail in, like just so that it's all, smooth. And
Yes.
I'm telling her, you don't realize what it takes, but you're going to love your hair later. But she's just like, no, braid it up. Just braid it up. She just wants to keep it braided up, but she still embraces her blackness. Like she loves being black. She loves being, who she is. And I do, she's very direct, a little too blunt sometimes. Her comebacks are crazy, but like my sister reminds me, I taught her that. Yeah, that's what I'm like. I taught her that from here. So I tell her, but don't necessarily walk on the eggshells for anyone, but there is a time and place for everything. So if that time warrants that, then you say what you need to say.
Yeah.
Ultimately, they're gonna call your mom and they're gonna just get it again.
Come on.
But I'm just saying, also just know you can give it to them real light. Like, don't get out there and you look the fool. You know what I mean? It's about
like
the education. Yes. If you're aware, you can kill them lightly. It doesn't have to be loud and ignorant, So, but yeah, that's where it comes from. It comes from us.
All right. So let's get into this conversation and let's take it to like a macro level, if you will. How do you feel about women-led spaces or spaces where women empowerment is preached? Like, is that something that you support, believe in? Have you participated in those things? And what's been your experience?
Yeah, I definitely believe in them, support them, try to support, because I think that when we're still struggling to be in those spaces and be respected in those spaces from everyone. So definitely support women-led from businesses, friendships, support groups, like all of those, and especially if it's a Black woman. Then I'm especially supportive. But I think that we're still navigating, finding our way in those spaces and to be respected in those spaces. So it's incumbent upon us to show up.
I think that's a very optimistic and idealized way to look at that, because you hope every space is like that, is going to embrace you like that. But I don't blindly support every woman-led space, even if it's a Black woman, because, living life, just having certain experiences, you find out that not everyone is who they portray themselves to be. Not every woman-led space is safe for all women. Or not every space, even if it's led by a Black woman, is going to embrace everybody there, especially if you don't know or are connected to everybody in that space, because a lot of those spaces can come off as cliquish.
Sometimes you don't know until you know, though. So.
True. But then, it's, there's an idea going around on social media that I saw that, these popular mean girls, like they're the ones in a lot of these spaces, and it's like a reputation, that a lot of them have. And so, they're able to be exclusive with who they truly invite in, although the perception is everyone's welcome. You know what I mean? So just, you're right. You're not going to, if you've never had an interaction with that group or with that person, you're not going to truly know what that is until you're there. But, there's an element of you doing your due diligence, beforehand, as much as you can, to understand what you're getting yourself into.
But just like when we go back to the micro level, with individualized friendships, you see what you see on the surface until you go a little bit deeper, and then you may start to discover this isn't a friend, this isn't that. So I think it's the same thing on a macro level. Yeah, if there is the opportunity to do your due diligence and research some of those things first, absolutely. But sometimes you don't know, and you think you're maybe supporting, a Black woman or just a woman-led space. And then you find out like this isn't the space for me, because every Black-led space doesn't mean that that's the space for you.
Absolutely, because everybody's not for you.
Exactly.
Right?
So I think
you're not for everybody, but it is important to, I think, we can't support every woman.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Exactly.
But I think what happens a lot, and I don't know, I think what happens a lot is we get caught up in the whole color situation. You see, now let me elaborate.
Say more.
I will say more. Okay. Some people will or will not support something just because they're Black.
Mm-hmm.
Do you see what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah.
And I think that's honestly that's where we go wrong, because that's where the division occurs. It should not always be about color. Some people, same thing. We could take it to politics. If there's a female, well, it's a lot of Black females that's popping in my head when I think about politicians, but so I'm intrigued naturally, just naturally, if I see a Black politician, I want to know what they're talking about. I want to know, if I agree with them, because it's like, you just get this feeling of excitement, like, wow, they actually let her through. Even that far is exciting, but it doesn't mean that I'm going to agree with every Black politician, female, or male. But I mean, I think that's what happens a lot though with Black women. We kind of get caught up, and even when it comes to Black businesses, I'm big on supporting Black businesses, but every Black business is not going to get my support. Once I find out,
you find out,
you know what I mean? They're just not going to. They're not going to get my support. Same though with if it's a business and it's owned by a white woman, I'm not going to just ignore it because she's white. You know what I'm saying? If her business has something that I like, then I'm going to go and try to support her first because she's a woman. You know what I'm saying? And again, it's hard for women just across the board, but people just get so caught up in color, and it's like race is important, but it's like it's the human race for me, And when we get to talking about women, we have to, true enough, she's Black, let's support her if she's, if it's worth being supported. But I just think kind of going off what both of you said, but do some research, maybe get in there and introduce yourself. Don't write anyone off because they're Black or not Black. You know what I mean? Give them a chance, support a woman. But I just feel like a lot of times it's just people's intentions are wrong. Like from the door, I'm going because that's a Black woman, and then you go in there, you can't stand the lady. You can't stand the woman. You know what I mean?
I had a horrible experience.
You had a horrible, and being like when I was in business, I think I had that experience a lot. Because I just felt like we were going to just be this big, we're all entrepreneurs, we're Black, we can support each other, and the intentions are there, but they're still people.
Yeah,
and they might not be your people.
Yeah.
And it's not to say that every Black person is going to support every Black business. And when I say it's incumbent upon us to support, I mean, again, it's still doing your due diligence, just like in friendships. You have to, you weed out what's good for you and what's not. We don't fit into every space.
Yeah.
But when I do see like a Black business opening up or something is happening that's Black, then of course I'm like, oh, yeah. And my daughter, she'll be like, oh, that's Black.
Yes.
Because, and I think also because, I've been living in this area since 2007. So for a pretty long time, around majority white folks, right? So then when I see something Black happening, I'm like, okay, I can go be around my people, right? And it doesn't mean that every experience is going to be a good experience, but then I know that that's not the space or the place for me.
Yeah.
But I do at first, have that excitement, that sheer excitement for that Black person that is doing something and want to be another Black person that shows up for them. There's another episode when we talked about, Asian population and how they just show up for each other and support businesses and keep when we were talking about like their economy, keeping the money with it. Yeah. Right. And so I kind of look at it from that perspective, like what can I do to show up? Now, if you mess that up, of course, I'm not going to continue to give you my support. Right. Just like with any friendship, if something happens, I'm not going to continue to subject myself to that. So I think that, show up for each other.
So I believe a little bit differently, and it might sound a little paradoxical, but I'm a girl's girl through and through. However, I don't subscribe to feminism in the historical sense because traditionally, it has left us out. It has left out our voices, our needs, our value, our humanism. It has left us out. There was not a seat at the table for us, just like in certain movements where you see it's predominantly women led, where a lot of times these plights came, and the liberties and freedoms came, from the fight of Black women. But now you see that it's women-led spaces where we're not included anymore. And so we have to fight for our voices in our own struggle when we were the ones fighting to get certain freedoms. And when the freedom came, everybody else benefited from the fight that we fought. So a lot of these things that are out here that are big picture, women-led or women derived, I don't automatically subscribe to those ideas because of that reason. So I'll take certain parts of it that make sense, so with the feminist movement, I'm more aligned with the, what was qualified as hood feminism, because it talks about marginalized groups of women who were not traditionally included in the feminist movement. When you talked about voting rights for women, yeah, that's good, but y'all don't clap it up as Black women because that did not include us. When you talk about reproductive rights, y'all don't clap it up so quickly because that did not include us. They didn't consider us. So just be careful with the things that you just blindly follow and accept, just because it has woman all over it, when a lot of these spaces are not for us and it was never meant for us. And when we fight to be a part of it, we almost all of the time have to end up creating our own, subsect of it just to have a seat at the table.
Hence the reason I said, particularly Black women. when I started, I said, yes, I support. I said, but particularly Black women, because we are, and that's what I think is incumbent upon us to be able to support. And again, not all Black women are going to show up like they're supposed to.
Yeah.
But again, just like that friendship, you kind of start to exclude yourself if I'm showing up for you and then, things aren't as they should, then kind of back away from that. But so no, not just women-led movement. And that's why I said particularly Black.
Specific too.
I think it's sad when you see Black women in spaces that, they're leading in their area of expertise, but then you see one of us come along and want to support or want to participate or want to know what we can do to be a part of, and you don't embrace us, you don't welcome us in, you don't give us the information. And it's like, why are you operating in this way when you know there's not that many of us? When you know that getting support from us is not something that you see every day. So why shut us out? And to me, that only makes sense to say that a person is like, there's some disconnect within that person, within their racial identity. And that's just how I see it. Like the self-hate is real. It's a real thing.
Yes, it is.
That Black people go through. And when you see Black people embracing other, races of people over us because either they want to be the only one or they really don't see us as good enough. Like they're the one that has to be the, you know what I mean? And everybody else is beneath them. It's like, there's something in you that's not quite right. And there's something that you need to reconcile internally, because you hate who you are a little bit. You wish you could be that other thing, and no matter how hard you try, Black woman, Black girl, to exclude us because of your negrophobia, that's what I'm calling it, you will never be one of them.
You'll never be
no matter
one of
how
them.
many of them, seem to let you in, you're never going to be one of them.
And sometimes they don't want you to steal their shine or to take their place. So it's like,
which is horrible.
You can't, but that whole crabs in a bucket thing, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So instead of lending a hand to help you up, it's like, you're not coming to steal my spot.
Yeah. Going back to our leadership episode that we did a while back, just seeing us in leadership, but not having that support of I'm going to build you up so that when I leave, you can take over.
Exactly.
It's like, what are you afraid of to let somebody else in? What are you afraid of to teach me all of what you know?
Yes,
so that it can be passed on. Yes, passed on to another one of us that can, take over and continue to keep this thing going. Yeah. So when you're gone, you were the only one of us that were ever in this position. And that's something great for you to behold, that you've been the only one. So that's why we're still in 2025, still having, the first Black woman to do this. So and it's like, why? When it should not be that hard still to break into these industries or to get our foot in the door in certain places. All right, y'all. So this was a good conversation.
Yes.
A nice wrap up for season 1. I like. Yes, we need to do this again.
Absolutely, we do.
Yes.
All cozy and comfy.
I was just about to say, I think the ambiance of just being comfortable and laid back and, maybe having a little sippy sip.
That helped.
Yeah.
I don't know about my sippy sip.
I know, girl.
I'm amped up.
Girl.
Is it bedtime? Because I'm amped up.
About to run a marathon. Wow. But we will do this again. We will be back in 2026. So expect to see us real soon. But before we sign off, I just want to, and I know this is like way ahead of time, but I'm looking at this fan that we have here in this beautiful Black-owned space. And so this just makes me want to remind all of us that midterms are coming up in 2026. Please go out there and vote. With all of the gerrymandering and redistricting going on in your areas, your vote counts. And they know that it counts and they know that it matters. That's why they're trying to break up our votes. So don't be bamboozled. Go out there and vote, represent. I'm telling you, it matters. It's important. So that's all I got to say. I'm going to get off my soapbox now. But all right, until we meet again, y'all. Season 2.
Season 2. It's
All
been
right.
real, y'all. We appreciate y'all.
You didn't say like
The subscribe.
Oh,
email,
my God.
subscribe, like
Listen,
none of that.
I'm so sorry.
It's the
You
juice.
juiced up.
It's the juice.
Yeah. Be sure to like, subscribe, follow,
Comment.
Yes. Email at the Black Boardroom Collective at gmail.com. Follow us, the Black Boardroom on social media. All that good stuff. So
And
again,
send in your shoulda, coulda, wouldas.
yes,
Keep them
thank
coming.
you.
Keep them
Thank
coming.
you. Thank you.
That's C4.
She got the
It's
listen.
the energy. It's the energy. All right, y'all.
Peace.
Yeah,
See
right.
y'all.
We ain't peacing yet. So before we peace, we're about to peace. What I want to say, it took everything in me to just shut up and listen.
You did
Don't
really
worry.
good.
Don't worry, Black men. We'll be back.
Season 2 is coming.
We're going to unpack this conversation.
Let's
Trust
do
me.
it.
Okay. All right, board members.
Peace.